I'd like to call to order the Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, January 7th, 2026 at 7 p.m. We have two cases tonight, and the first one we're going to hear is a public hearing for Cassidy Granger, case number 2026-02, 106 Pine Street, seeking a special permit. The date of her application is December 9th, 2025. And
you can pull a chair up with you. Come on.
the following was posted in the town hall and advertised in the Worcester Telegram and Gazette.
She can use this one. Okay. Sorry.
And we weren't even asked to come on.
Hi, good evening. Open case was off.
No, stop. We're not even opening the meeting. Yep.
So, the following was posted in the Community Development Office and also advertised in the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. And the notice reads as follows. The Town of Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing beginning at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026 in the Douglas Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. to hear the following application. Cassidy Granger is requesting a special permit in an RA zone district pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 9, and the Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.3, and Appendix A, B, residential. Schedule of use regulations number 3, and a temporary trailer on property located at 106 Pine Street, Assessors Map 271, Parcel 11. A copy of the application may be viewed in the Community Development Department during regular business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed application should appear at the time and place designated. Okay. So, hearing this case tonight would be Mr. Palmer, Mr. Forget, Margaret Bacon, myself, and Mr. Fitzpatrick. I have notification from staff that the green cards were returned, and public hearing is now open. So, is the applicant here?
Yes.
Good evening. Open my case with Alpha Omega Engineering. I have the applicants with me here. We got an approval to build a new house on her property. We received the septic approval about a few months ago. The septic is halfway completed, except the connection to the house. We received the building permit about maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Weeks ago. The problem that we had a house rental in Rhode Island. They lost the rental because the house was sold. Now they have no place to live. And they started to do the foundation, start to work on the foundation, but they have no place, so they asked them to keep the trailer on the property as a temporary housing because it's an emergency for them. While they're building the house, which is hopefully by the end of this year it will be completed. Just an emergency situation, and we have a partial approval from the Board of Health to use the septic right now. And this is the building permit.
I did see that. I think it was a partial approval.
Yeah. And we talked to the Board of Health agent, and he say he's okay with using the septic because it's all done up to the D-box, and the tank actually is done. Okay. So they just can connect to the tank and use it because the feed itself is done.
Okay. All right. The bylaws don't allow you to have a trailer on that property unless there was an existing home that was damaged or by fire or some other catastrophic event.
Yeah, there was a house on the property, and they had to demolish it to build the new house, but during the construction, this emergency happened and they have no other place to live. But there was a house.
Yep. All right. You have anything else?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any board members have any questions for the applicant?
I just want to You brought up the inspection of the septic system, and we have a certificate of compliance here. It's highlighted partial on the top. Then it's highlighted partial certificate of compliance only, not authorization for use of the system without the approval of all applicable departments of the town of Douglas. Typically, that would be when you get your final sign-off saying you're able to use the system. It's unusual to be using the system before you complete the residence.
Well, I spoke to the Board of Health agent, Steve Donatelli, and he said he had to write that because house connection is not completed. There is no house yet, and that's why it's a partial, and that's why he said we have to get the approval from other departments.
Everything is done.
No, I get that, and I'm not trying to be difficult, but you have to try to understand at least my opinion on it. I'm not talking for anybody else at the table. We have to go by whatever documentation that we receive. We can't do verbal word of mouth situations because there's nothing to back it up.
We
right?
could
So-
get that documentation.
What's that?
We could get that.
Well, he's on vacation.
Yes,
So,
I know, but that's why he wrote without, he needs approval from the other department.
Right.
Which is basically would be the zoning board to be able.
No, other departments would also include the building department, right? Building department would not give you a sign-off until the house was completed. This is the problem that you're going to have with it. So I don't want to dominate the time, so I'll stop with that.
Yep. But
other questions,
the Board of Health agent doesn't have the authority to allow you to tie a trailer into it because the trailer is not allowed.
Yes, I mean, that's why he said without, he needs the approval from the other departments. But for the septic itself is completed except the house connection.
Understood, but the trailer is the issue.
Yes.
When I did speak with Mr. Wojcik, I spoke with him again today. He did say that he spoke with town council, like the town, I'm assuming, attorney, and they said that when they went through the bylaws, that it was not said that it was or was not allowed in our situation, and that it would be up to your discretion at that point. I spoke with him again today.
Yep, but no disrespect, but that's coming from you. He should have sent something to us. Right?
He said he spoke with you guys.
It has to be something that's in the file that would.
He said he spoke with you, as a group. That's what he said today on the phone.
He
Did he
didn't
talk
speak
to you,
to me.
Margaret? Did he talk to you, Les?
No.
Talk to you, Dan?
No, he did not.
He didn't talk to me. He talked to you?
No.
No. He didn't talk to us as a group
Can you get them?
about this at all.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with him twice.
I'm just telling you. I'm not being difficult.
I'm sure I could get it from him and from the town council.
But again, town council doesn't have the authority to let you park and live in a trailer on a lot.
No, they weren't saying that they had the authority. They were just saying that it was not allowed or allowed, and that it would be to you guys' discretion, but it's not specific in the bylaws.
Is there a copy of that, Mel?
Right there.
Just through the chair, question. The prior structure that was there was a trailer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you're just seeking a temporary trailer in that place?
I do have photos of it,
Correct.
what was there.
And that trailer that was there was up there until the last so many months before you knocked it down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly when? February?
Yeah, there was a permit pulled, so I'd have to get the exact date, but I do have photos too of the trailer.
Just because I've driven by that, and it was, the trailer was like damaged with trees?
Yes.
Okay. So,
But it had the septic and a well.
correct. It was a living property.
Yes.
Someone lived there, and there was a trailer on it, and then I know that thing was
Did you buy it like that?
Yes.
So you never lived in it, the trailer?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he could live in it. I don't think it was livable.
And the reason why is because Mrs. Stevens' questioning is pushing you towards a catastrophic event, right, which would fall under this provision. But if you didn't suffer the loss, you don't fall under that provision
Correct.
of the
The main issue
bylaw.
is that
What's that?
they live in was sold, and they had to move out. That was like a few weeks ago.
Current owner, not the previous owner, because the previous owner isn't applying for a temporary use of a trailer after a catastrophe or something like that. Yeah.
So I'm sure you probably have read this, but this is how the table reads. Temporary use of a trailer or mobile home because of loss of a dwelling by fire or some other catastrophic event. You're allowed to do this for 1 year. There was no fire, there's no catastrophic event, therefore it's not allowed.
And that's set up like that because of somebody does have a fire in their house, and you've seen them over the years somewhere. That insurance company comes in, they put a mobile home in there, so then they have a place to live until they get their property straightened out.
I just know that when I spoke with, 100%, multiple times, Mr. Wojcik.
Mr. Wojcik, in all due respect to you and Mr. Wojcik, he is not the zoning official. He doesn't do zoning.
Yeah, I'm just going to what they said about the bylaws.
Yeah, no, he can tell you whatever he wants, but that has no bearing on us sitting here at this table. There's nothing that I could find in the zoning book, because I looked through this, and I don't know if the other members have done the same. I look for ways to try to make it work through the book, and I can't find anything in there that tells me that we could allow this to happen in this situation, because then everybody that builds a house in town could, in theory, live in their trailer until whatever it is they want to live in until they finish their house, right? And I sympathize with your situation. I'm not trying to be difficult with you. The problem is trying to find something that I can justify why we make the decisions that we make. And there's no provisions in there that allow you to use temporary housing while you're building a residential structure.
Do any other board members have
Unless
questions or
somebody else has
comments?
something that differs from that, I'm all open to it.
I think that there's two differences. One is the case that was on Glen Street, what this board granted with the temporary trailer, and that structure being related to a fire and then being transferred to the new owners and stuff like that. I didn't inspect the trailer or drive by the trailer when they bought the trailer. I just know when they bought the property, driving by, and then a couple months later, there was trees down and that trailer was pretty well in trouble. So, they're asking for a 12-month thing. It's not setting precedent because this is was granted on Glen Street. If you get the exact address, you're aware of the property.
I am.
38.
But
Yeah.
that had a house on it, and the house was damaged by a fire, which is what's allowed in the regulations.
But wasn't, to your point, but was not the original owner.
It was not the original owner, correct.
So,
But there was a house,
So
and there was a
that was a
fire.
gray area, and this is where we struggled with that. So it was a unique situation. The house was damaged by fire. The structure was being rebuilt as is, right? Whatever structural damage was done, resided new windows and stuff like that. In the long run, I'm sure they're going to regret that because you can never get rid of the snow. This is something totally different. You actually, two different types of construction. You went from a mobile home to a residential structure, right?
Yeah.
So, Jim, do you have any questions or comments? Ron? No. Margaret?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mike. I couldn't find anything here that I could hang my hat on. I see, the zoning table of schedule of use regulations pretty clear. It has to be a fire or something catastrophic, and I don't see that. I'm not quite sure I understand what the emergency is.
We have nowhere else to go. I don't know what bigger catastrophe that would be.
Well, they lost their house. They had a rental in Rhode Island, and the property sold, from what I understood, that the engineer said. So they've lost their housing. They had to leave by the time they did their
Can't get
closing.
another apartment or something?
There's a housing shortage. First off, we have 2 dogs, which makes it, on top of it, impossible. And also conserving funds, so we build this house on time. And it is, we want to be there during construction, and I understand that we are asking for something that isn't traditional, but, it's our land that we want to start our family here, and we've done everything right, as in getting the septic done 100%, other than just the pipe from the tank going to the house. The final grading, everything's done. Erosion control, the well, I have the well permit, the certificate, everything is up to code. We're just asking for temporary while we're building this house. It's, we have nowhere else to go. Again, under the catastrophe, definition of catastrophe can be looked at different ways, but
That's not what it says. It says fire, or house damage, or whatever. It doesn't talk about a catastrophe that happened to you off of that piece of property. It's talking about damage, catastrophe on that property.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a suggestion.
Yep.
Why don't we consider continue if the applicant's open to it, continue it for 30 days until the next meeting, right? And in the meantime, we can follow up on the verbal comments that were made as far as the Donatelli and town council.
No,
and
doesn't change what the zoning book says.
I understand that.
And that's our job. Our job's not to deal with.
But there's two parts of what I'm trying to do, so let me finish my sentence. And it also gives them another 30 days to see what, maybe something will change for them, right? I think it's the fairest thing to do, instead of just cutting it off quick. Right? It gives you 30 days to try to figure it out. Maybe you come up with an option, I don't know. But at the same time, we at least do our due diligence and make sure we're being as fair as possible. And I agree with the chairman, right? This is not unusual for us to go back and forth a little bit like this. I do agree with his sentiment, but at the same time, I'm trying to have a little compassion and go through it and see if there's something that can help you get to where you need to be. And in the meantime, maybe something will come about that you find an apartment, and then that's off the table, right? I would suggest to you that they try to do that, because I don't see what's going to change in 30 days, to be totally honest with you. But I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt and help you through the process. I don't think 30 days is going to make or break the situation.
It's another 30 days they're in violation.
Yeah.
And there's been dozens and dozens of new homes built in this town in the last 5 years. Nobody else said, oh, we need to live in the trailer, because it's not allowed. It's the bottom line. It's not allowed.
can I say one thing?
Sure, absolutely.
The whole thing too, I know it's hearsay basically, but when I spoke with Wojcik, we submitted a stay on fines, and the reason that we are able to do the stay on fines was from the town attorney saying that there was no clear directives, yes or no, that this is allowed or not. That's why the stay on fines was even allowed in the first place. Because we're facing $9,000.
Because you're going through the appeal process. I think you would be allowed that anyways.
Excuse me. Yep, sir. Just need your name and address for the minute taker.
I'm George Chapman. I'm his dad. 780 West Street,
Okay.
Uxbridge. I just wanted to also add that that you can look into too. I know that if a trailer is on a piece of property, you can exchange that trailer out and put another trailer in. And he's only looking for a temporary type of thing here. We're not looking into, putting in a mobile park or anything like that. I know that back when they wrote all these laws, that's what they were getting rid of. They don't want trailer parks. This ain't going to be a trailer park. He's looking for a temporary to stay in this place. And it was a real, a mobile home there. This isn't exactly the same footprint as that, a much nicer trailer there. And that's what we're asking you to look into. You could go and give him, 4 months, review it again, see where he's at on his building this house, or 6 months. But I think I think you should just try to look at this thing in a little different way than what's written on statement on that paper that you have there. all right? I'd really
Well, those are the
appreciate
same
that.
rules that everybody else has followed.
What's that?
These are the same rules that everybody else has
They didn't
followed.
have a trailer that they took off of the property, and you can, in your laws, that you can take a trailer off and replace it with another trailer. That is
Yeah,
in
okay.
your bylaws.
Comment to that, yeah.
Yeah, go right
I
ahead.
appreciate it if you could look at that, that's all.
So,
Okay.
like I stated to you
Yeah.
in the selectman's office, when you came in with the same thing, a mobile home and a trailer are two different things, right? Everybody calls a mobile home a
Yeah.
trailer when it's in a trailer park, right? It's actually a mobile home park.
Yeah.
Mobile homes are governed by HUD. Is that a mobile home that you have, or is that a camper trailer, or a fifth-wheel trailer?
It's a fifth wheel item.
The fifth-wheel trailer, so that is a vehicle, and it's totally different than a mobile home. You can't compare the two. And then there's other criteria that's involved, and I believe that you have to switch it out in the same day, right? You disconnect one and you hook the other one up in order to be grandfathered in for the use of that. So you can't, and I'm not going to get into back and forth with you on it. I'm just clarifying that because I explained it to you like that in that office. So they're not the same thing. So you can't go back to the law that says that you could switch one out. It is not as simple as that. But anyways, I appreciate your comments. Thanks.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in this
Would like
case?
to do the 30 days. So
There's a gentleman in the back. We're going through the audience first, then we'll come back to you. Sir.
Sir?
James Wright, 256 South Street.
Okay.
I just want to say that the trailer that was on the property initially when they purchased it was very uninhabitable. It was falling down. It wasn't livable by any stretch of imagination. So they didn't lose their house due to a fire or a natural disaster. There was no way to live to begin with. The other thing, it was brought to my attention, and I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I understand they received at least 2 letters that they needed to vacate the property and what they were doing was illegal. The last letter dated, I believe, December 2nd, told them they had to be out in 7 days or they would be getting fined. They blatantly disregarded it and just continued living there. I saw that property go from a beautiful piece of property to an absolute mess. They had they tore the buffer zone between them and their nearest neighbor was completely destroyed. There is no more buffer zone. In closing, that property looks like hell, and it was a beautiful piece of property. Go start throwing RVs and them living in it, it's only going to take a step for the worse. We as Douglas residents take pride in our property, and the property is a disgrace. Sorry, but I mean, the laws are the laws. I mean, there was blatant disregard. They were told they can't live there. They live there anyway. I was also told they plumbed their septic into the septic, which is highly illegal. I mean, this should be a completely different hearing, to be honest with you. But I think we should abide by the town laws and stick with them, the same as everybody else has to stick.
Thanks, comment on that.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
He does live right around the corner. He's a little upset because he used to hunt on that property, and Jack put...
Never hunted in my life. Never.
No back and forth, excuse me. No back and forth in the audience.
I'd like to just respond.
Well, yep, one at a time and go through it. Let the chairman recognize you.
Go ahead, sir.
So I do have photos showing the existing property. I don't know what he's talking about at all. Also, the buffer zone between our neighbor I've spoken with and got to know, there was a lot of dead trees, and he told me that he was so happy that those big trees were coming down.
You know, that's got nothing to, we're the zoning board.
Well,
Dead
that's what
trees
he was
doesn't,
saying.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact is, in my opinion, it's not allowed. And you're doing something, I don't know if that's accurate, you were sent a notice and you
I can speak on
ignored
that
it?
too.
Huh?
I can speak on that too.
Okay.
But-
Well, the case, from my standpoint, is you can't do it. It's not allowed. So I don't know if the board's pleasure is, but
Something that, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I talked about this certificate of compliance, right? I wasn't paying that much attention because I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm just trying to go through this process. Partial certificate of compliance only, not authorized for use of system without approval of all applicable departments. Are you using that system now?
Yes.
Why? If you're not allowed to use it, why are you using it?
Steve Donatelli told me directly that I was able to use that. Also the Board of Health office.
Steve Donatelli's signature is on this page, which
He-
says you cannot use it.
And the Board of Health submitted this to go in our packet. This is the problem that I have, right?
And that's why we could get, quick
These are, yeah.
confirmation on this with, a little bit of due diligence time. 100%, I'm not lying about any of these things.
Yep.
Nobody's accusing you of lying.
No.
It's not allowed. That's the issue.
Well, again, the town attorney read through the bylaws and said that.
I've had no correspondence from the town attorney. Zero. So what's the board's pleasure? Want to vote on this tonight?
To go another 30 days.
No,
No, they weren't.
That's what I
Mike.
had.
That wasn't them.
That's all, I had only suggested that as a possibility.
I don't know why we'd allow somebody who's in violation, who's ignored
Well, I can speak to that.
requests to do it, and they're continuing to do it.
Can I speak to that?
After receiving a letter. When you recognize you can. Is there anybody else that wants to speak on this?
Well, I guess everything I have in my packet, continue what I was saying before, is I have the zoning use schedules that says we're in violation. I have this letter from the building inspector that talks about a second notice regarding, and he's has spoken with you at length regarding, why you can't have a trailer on that property. And then I see this partial certificate of compliance that pretty much says that it's not, you can't be using an existing septic without a full certificate of compliance, and that's in Title V also. So I don't have anything here to hang my hat on that says that this, we have some wiggle room here. I don't see it.
And that's a struggle that we're having, right? And if I probably wouldn't have even made that suggestion if I had thought through this certificate of compliance, realizing that I should have stopped and realized because you're getting a violation notice of being in a trailer, but I didn't even take it into consideration when I was thinking through it. I don't know.
My thoughts, we let one person do it, they're just going to line up at the door wanting to do the same thing. They're going to say,
Well,
treat me like Cassidy. That's what they're going to say. And
This
you're in
was
violation.
specifically designed this way to prevent that from happening.
Right.
Right.
Right, but it is happening.
No, I know that.
Yeah, so, the board want to close the public hearing? What's the board's
I'd like to
pleasure?
speak on the fine, the violation. That,
Go ahead.
I've been in contact with the building inspector who issued the violation and did everything at his recommendation about this. So,
Why didn't you approach him before you moved the trailer there? Then you would have known you couldn't
because I
do
read
it.
the bylaws and thought we were falling under them.
Catastrophic event?
I mean,
Fire?
what bigger, well, it's a comma before catastrophic, so that's a separate thing when I read it. It's not saying catastrophic fire, it's saying or catastrophic event.
Correct.
So when I read that, I thought being homeless would be catastrophic.
Yeah, I disagree. So, does the board want to continue the public hearing, close the public hearing? What's your pleasure?
Any comment, Ron?
Well, I would just try to figure this out to help. That's what I'm looking at. There's so many variables in here that
The struggle, Ronnie, is what it says in the table about temporary use of a trailer or mobile home because of loss of dwelling by fire or some other catastrophe for not more than 1 year. So that's the first part.
Okay.
Then, actually, the more important thing to me is the fact that it says right here that you can't use the septic system when tied into it.
and why is that? Let me ask that.
Why? Yeah, that's Steve Donatelli. He got a partial certificate of compliance, and it says, and on the form, it's part of the form, but it was purposely highlighted in 2 spots. Partial certificate of compliance only, not authorization for use of system without approval or all applicable departments, not boards, departments.
The purpose of us getting this was for us to use it. That is why I picked this up. That's why we delivered all the as-built.
What purpose of what? This
Us to
hearing?
use it for the trailer. We did an as-built, everything, for the purpose from the Board of Health to use it with the trailer. That is the whole purpose of getting the partial. I mean, I could get
Do you have a
clarification.
copy of this thing?
Yes.
Did you read it?
Well, I am now, but
Right in the middle of the paper, it says partial COC only. You see that? Read it and tell me if you interpret something different than I'm reading. I'm not trying to be difficult.
no, I understand that.
This is a form that was created, and it's what it says.
Right. But when dealing with them, this is, I mean, we've gotten partial COs for septics on houses that I've built because the grass hasn't grown yet. We get this exact form.
That's totally different. I've been a builder for 35 years.
Yeah.
I made that statement in the other room, right? That's not unusual. This time of year, you got the house built, you got the septic system in, you're not going to grow any grass in February or January typically unless it's warm. So they'll give you a temporary until your grass is grown in the summertime. But everything else has been signed off. You've got all your final sign-offs from all the departments.
Steve came out to the property, the Title V agent. We went over everything. He inspected everything. The as-built was sent in for the purpose to use the septic system for this trailer. There was no other conversation about it. That's why this
That's what he
came in.
told you. That's not what he signed.
So if we get clarification from Steve Donatelli, will this satisfy the board?
They're still not allowed to have a trailer
Well,
on the
the
lot.
trailer is still not allowed. It's just another part of it, right? And the whole purpose of a lot of this conversation, at least for me, is to explain the challenges that we have, right? First, we have the table that tells you you can't do it. Well, this particular part of the table, but there is no other part that says that you can use a trailer for this purpose. And then we have documentation from the Board of Health that says you can't use the system without the sign-off from the other departments, and you can't get the sign-off from the other departments until the structure's up. It's like a catch-22 situation.
I'm just, 100% they allowed us to use this system. Multiple conversations. We had to get the as-built done for this to make sure everything was installed properly. The grading was done. And as for, to the other conversation with the attorney, there's nothing stating that you can't do this also. I mean, I'm just...
Right here. You can't have a trailer on a lot unless there was a house on the lot that had a catastrophic event or a fire. I mean, that's pretty simple. There's only 2 sentences.
Yeah, I mean, again, the catastrophic thing is what I believe to be different. And
Sir, there's hundreds of thousands of people in this state that are in the exact same position as you, building a new house. That doesn't mean that they can live on their lot. You need to make arrangements other than this, because this is not allowed. I mean, so.
I mean, unfortunately, I think I got to agree with them. I think you're in a no-win situation. I don't see anything here that would help you.
with clarification of in writing, the septic, I know it's still not allowed, with the words that have been spoken about with the town attorney.
But if the septic's not allowed, you can't connect to it.
Well, then we can set up a tank and have it pumped, if that was the only outlying issue, I mean, these are words that I have.
Can't have a trailer on the lot. I don't know. I guess I'm not being clear. You cannot have a travel trailer on the lot unless there was a building there that had a fire or a catastrophic event.
But can we get clarification from the town council on the catastrophic event itself? You can give us time to get definition from him?
Losing housing
It's not a catastrophic event.
Because it's an event, is not regarding, I don't think it's related to the losing the house. It's talking about an event, not the house itself. So can we get a clarification from the town council on that?
Because this is the issue that we spoke with, and the town council said that this is not a, black and white type of thing.
The town council told you that.
Told Wojcik, that told me twice.
But Wojcik also told you that he talked to all of us, and
And he didn't.
talked to one of us.
So,
I mean,
No.
I'm ready to close the
seriously.
public
I
hearing.
spoke with him today on the phone, speakerphone. Cassidy was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making this up.
No, I'm not saying you are, but I didn't hear anything from him, and I spoke with him today on another matter. I was actually in the town hall and didn't say a word to me about this.
So what's the board's pleasure? We're going to close the public hearing? We're going to continue it?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing?
Okay, we have a motion by Margaret, seconded by Jim, to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing's closed. Would the board like to vote tonight? No.
What's the wording of what we're voting on?
Whether or not
Whether or
to
not-
allow the trailer.
To allow the trailer.
To be on the property? Explain it further, I'm not getting it. How long is the trailer going to be on the property?
Hopefully only till tomorrow.
Well, if it's approved, then that would be part of the conditions as to how long it would be there. If it's denied, then it wouldn't be there very long.
And the trailer is for what purpose?
For them to live in,
For them to live in.
Until they,
complete the
Rebuild the-
construction of their house.
yeah.
Right.
I'm missing something there because we've done that, I think we've done that before.
One time, the house caught on fire. The house caught on fire, and the people came in and said, can we put a trailer there while we're rebuilding?
And if you remember, it was for 1 year, and they're in like 2.5, 3 years now, and that trailer left after 1 year.
Trailer out, right?
Right,
After 1 year.
exactly.
Yep. And they did have, and they didn't have, they had a septic there, they didn't hook into it. They used the self-contained tank that was on the trailer, and they had to provide the pumping records to the town to prove that they weren't using the septic system. So
Okay, so the public hearing's closed, so there's no,
close the hearing, I'm just explaining it to you out of courtesy.
so we have a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, motion for Margaret?
No, we already went through closing the public hearing.
We did. We need a
Yeah.
motion. If we're going to vote on it, we need a
Decision
motion.
for the,
Yeah. The motion has to be made in the positive.
So I make a motion to allow the trailer to
yes,
stay?
it's always gonna,
Yeah,
it's always got to be in a positive motion, so.
Yeah, to approve their application for a special permit
right.
to have a
To
trailer.
avoid influence,
To allow, all right, to approve the special permit to allow the
use,
the use of that trailer to stay.
yep, case number.
2026.
2026-02.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Margaret, seconded by Mike. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
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 The special permit request is denied, and that's where we're at.
Is there a way to go about appealing this so that we can get clarification on other things?
Not for 2 years.
Well, no, they can appeal that decision.
Oh, you could appeal, yeah.
Yes,
to the
you can
courts.
appeal a decision to the courts. Once the decision is back to us, we sign it, gets stamped in, you'll get a copy of it, and then you could, you have 20 days to appeal it from that point.
Could you say that one more time?
So we get the decision back, it'll be
You know,
drafted up by...
Mike, please don't try to act as his attorney.
I'm not acting.
No, he can have an attorney and explain to him the situation. I don't think we...
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any, we've done it for everybody else. The
Done what?
decision comes back to us, we sign it, it gets stamped in with the attorney, you have 20 days in which to appeal it.
Yep.
You'll be
And I can pick that
notified,
up?
you'll be notified when we have the decision signed.
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
Okay. The next public hearing, I'm going to recuse myself from.
Yeah, I gotta,
Margaret's going to recuse herself.
Margaret's
yeah, yeah, everybody's leaving.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you guys gonna be in the other room? Cool, whatever. Yeah, to your point on the Glen Street.
I'll get to the next case in a minute. I just want a chance to clear my head for a second. What's that?
Yeah, Glen Street did come before us before the trailer.
Yes, no, I know that. He stole my agenda.
Oh, here.
This is going to take me a minute to find.
Yep.
I need the public.
Where's she going?
Public notice?
Right.
That's what I gave you.
That's right here. All
Oh,
right.
she's gonna recuse herself?
Oh, for this one?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
We're done with this foolish thing. That. I need this. Just organizing my mess before I get started. All right, I do have a copy of it. Oh, yeah. All right. Ready? Okay. The next thing on our agenda is a public hearing for Pensco Trust Company LLC. I'm going to read the notice that was advertised. The Town of Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing beginning at 7 p.m. Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, in the Douglas Municipal Center Resource Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass., to hear the following application. Pensco Trust Company LLC is requesting a special permit in an RA zone district pursuant to the Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 9, and the Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.3 and Section 3.4.3, non-conforming structures to construct a single-family home on a pre-existing non-conforming lot on a property located at 48 Shady Lane, Assessors Map 148, Parcel 5. Any persons interested in or wishing to be heard shall appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the application is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. It was advertised in the Worcester Telegram and Gazette on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, and Tuesday, December 30th, 2025. Do we have any representation for this application here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. We have 4 seats left. You can take any seats that are open.
Ronnie, I'll take this one.
Who wants to take off?
Good evening, Mr. Acting Chair, members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Doug Ward, and I am the co-applicant along with my wife, Linda Ward. Linda and I purchased the property in 2019 with the intention of constructing our retirement home. Since that time, direct abutters on both the easterly and westerly property lines have expressed an interest in acquiring the property in order to construct a home for themselves or for their family members. In an effort to be responsive and to minimize potential impacts, we engaged in good faith discussions prior to filing this application and made multiple revisions to the plans to address concerns that were identified. The proposal now before the board reflects those efforts and has been designed to comply with the zoning bylaw and to be consistent with the surrounding neighborhood. At this time, I would like to introduce our counsel, Attorney Mark Wickstrom, who will lead our presentation of the evidence demonstrating that the required findings for a special permit can be made. We respectfully request the board's favorable determination.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Mark Wickstrom, I'm an attorney in the town of Uxbridge, and former zoning board member myself for 10 or 11 years there, so I understand what it takes to sit in your seat. You'll probably recognize this type of application anyway, because it comes up quite often, especially in towns that have a lot of non-conforming lots, which are not as large as required by the zoning bylaws under today's standards. This is one of those. The lot is not compliant with the zoning bylaws with regard to acreage or frontage. And so the question is, what can you do with that lot? In this situation, there's a pre-existing non-conforming structure on the lot, which was a dwelling that was used as a three-season camp. The proposal is to take down that dwelling and replace it with a new dwelling, which would be a three-bedroom house, according to the plans that were submitted. The notable thing about the particular piece of property is that there were 3 outbuildings on the property in addition to the house, and those outbuildings all encroached into the setbacks. So there were pre-existing nonconformities with regard to the setbacks. We're using, if you look at the plan that Mr. Allen has on the tripod there, I'll call it the north. We'll call that the top of the plan there, although it's probably northeasterly. But we'll call that the north. On the north side, there's I believe it's a 3-car garage that was in existence. That's to be taken down, and that encroached into the. We'll call it. It's a little difficult to say which side of the property is the front, because. But we're, for all intents and purposes, we're calling that the front, because that's the closest we get to the actual road. This property is actually accessed by a right-of-way from Shady Lane, which is actually a sort of a driveway right-of-way. The property itself doesn't actually touch Shady Lane, but that's the point where it approaches Shady Lane furthest. So we call that the front. And in the front, in residence, in the RA zone, you need 50 feet there's a 50-foot setback, and that garage sits entirely within the setback. And so this proposal eliminates that encroachment into that particular front setback. You'll see that the new house is shown there, as Mr. Allen's pointing out, and that new house does not encroach into the front setback at all. On the left side setback, there's 2 other encroachments into the left side setback by an existing pump house down towards the south, and also an existing shed. And both of those structures will be eliminated. So both of those pre-existing nonconformities will be eliminated. The house itself encroaches about, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Allen, about a foot and a half?
Yeah, 1.6 feet.
1.6 feet into the left side setback. So we're eliminating 2 nonconformities that are much further into the setback. And so we're reducing the encroachments with this new plan. On the right side setback, we have no encroachments on that side. So we're within the setbacks with this plan on that right side. And also the rear setbacks, we're within the setbacks, so there's no encroachments towards the body of water to the south. What's the standard that we're working under here? As you saw in the application, Mr. Allen laid out the special permit criteria that the board needs to follow. And the standard is that the board is to undertake an analysis of 6 criteria, or 6 factors. And then from those 6 factors, the board needs to determine whether or not the new plan is substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure to the neighborhood. So our argument is that it's less detrimental because, number one, we're replacing an aged structure with a new structure that's going to be much more valuable to the tax base and also to the property owner. We're eliminating some non-conforming encroachments into the setbacks. And so we believe that it's actually a benefit to the neighborhood to have this proposal and approve this special permit. If we get into the nitty-gritty, and we can go, if you like, Mr. Chairman, we can kind of go through each one, and if the board has questions about the criteria as we go through them, maybe I would open up to questions.
Does anybody on the board need to hear this? Or?
No, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No? Okay.
No, that's it.
Okay, so Mr. Allen laid out the criteria, 1 through 6. Again, I think they're all, if the board members have any questions about any of those particular criteria, I'm available to ask them.
No.
Are there any questions about the plan itself, any of the details?
Well, I'm sure there'll be questions about that, but I figured I'd let you guys get through your presentation first, so then we could just be efficient and just.
Mr. General, do you want to add any?
Yeah, I just want to add a couple of housekeeping items. We also were required to get a denial letter from the building inspector.
Mm-hmm.
So in the packet is, Doug and Lynn had applied to the building department for a building permit. So the denial letter is in there. And a set of architectural plans was also submitted to this board, to prove that this house is architecturally has been designed and not just a random footprint.
Right.
Yeah. So with that, I guess Mark Wickstrom did a great job explaining the situation. The property is about 4/10 of an acre in size. The zone calls for, the RA zone calls for just over 2 acres. So this particular lakefront lot, created in 1950, based on the recorded plan, predated zoning and therefore has the pre-existing non-conforming size and frontage. And the RA zone, like I say, is 2 acres, 200 feet of frontage. And this lakefront lot is about 20% of that. And the side yard setbacks and the front yard setbacks were associated with an over 2-acre parcel. So in lies the problem with the nonconformities.
I'm going to go around the table. Les, do you have anything?
Yeah, so Mr. Allen, you usually show in a plan where the pre-existing structure is in red, or the pre-existing structures.
Yep.
So what's the encroachments on those?
So yeah, they're in the table, pre-existing.
Yeah, but you usually show them on the plan,
Yep,
right?
so they're on the plan, they're just kind of shaded here.
Shaded?
Yeah.
So one over the septic?
One's over the septic, this is the second
Yep.
garage, and then the third is down here.
Oh, that's the cottage that's up by the septic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's a garage on the septic, the cottage.
Yeah,
is-
okay.
That's the cottage.
Okay, so there's
Cottage, garage, outhouse, pump house.
a pump house, okay, so there's 4 structures.
So yeah, that structure
Okay.
was used to suck water out of the lake and supply
Yeah.
the structure.
Yeah. What's the distance between the water's edge, right, that you're determining here, to the front of the structure?
New structure?
Yeah.
That is
61.4 feet.
61.4, okay, so 61.4.
That doesn't include the deck or anything, that's only to the foundation.
Right.
It doesn't include the deck, what's the deck?
The deck's about 8 feet wide, so 61.51.
And then you have the stairs that go down.
Yeah, all right.
So in orange, I'll just kind of highlight for you, in orange is the zoning setback lines.
Yep.
And then in green is the foundation, and then the screened-in porch, and then the deck.
So you're staying within the buffer of the, outside of the stairs?
Yes,
And that one, on the left side?
yes.
Okay.
In reference to the applicant's initial statement, some back and forth with the abutters has gone on where a set of staircase has been removed from the easterly side upon discussion with neighbors. And we had filed a month earlier, but in negotiations, we pulled that application a month and supplied this plan for you.
Okay. So one of the things that your council has stated is that property does not touch Shady Lane. However, it needs 50 feet of frontage. So how do you determine frontage on a right-of-way?
Again, these lakefront lots were often, you've seen it in Douglas everywhere, Cottage Colony Road is one of them. The parcel was created in 1950 at 4/10 of an acre with an access easement to Shady Lane. So there's 100 feet of what we call the front part of the property, 100 feet by about, I'm going to say roughly 200 feet.
So you determine frontage based upon what it abuts to another.
The closest part to Shady Lane.
Closest part to it, but, okay.
But it's not actual frontage, it's a landlocked piece that was created pre-zoning that has just an easement that goes into it across another lot.
And you're using the right-of-way for the point of access?
Yes.
Is that all you got?
Right now.
Ronnie?
All set.
Jim? Okay, so you have a pre-existing non-conforming lot, so by right, the only thing that you can do is rebuild in the same footprint in which the house is, by right. Anything else after that is a bonus, I guess, for lack of a better description. I requested this because I went into the Board of Health because I had conversations with Steve Donatelli, and as I stated to the previous applicant, word of mouth doesn't work. We need documentation on things. So I went in there, and unfortunately, Mr. Donatelli is on vacation, so I couldn't get it in writing. But I was also made aware that there was an email chain that went back and forth with yourself and Krista regarding the 3-bedroom system design was for the system itself, because that's the minimum size system that you can put on the lot. However, you were restricted to a 1-bedroom house. And Title V rules, you can, on a repair, you can replace what you have. I went further, went and got a property card. You have a 480 square foot house, 3-room, 1-bedroom. So it's on record as a 1-bedroom house. On a repair, if it was a discrepancy as to what the building and the property card was in the existing house, say had 3 bedrooms, then you would bring the agent down, he would verify it, yep, and no, it's got 3 bedrooms. Then you would be able to get it. As of sometime around in '23, the DP and Title V rules changed, and you need 10,000 square feet per house, per bedroom, right? On the bottom of on the septic plan, which I have in this packet, it clearly states, and this says approved, because he Steve Donatelli told me that he approved this plan with the stamp notation that said it was restricted to a one-bedroom house. So unless he used disappearing ink, I can't find it on this plan anywhere, right? Being a little sarcastic, but that's what it was. But right at the very bottom of the plan, and I think you guys drew it, it clearly states that it's 18,731 square feet, right? So unless my math is off, by Title V rules, you're entitled to a one-bedroom house. I don't know how you get a three-bedroom house on there. And the problem that I would have is trying to approve, say, oh yeah, you can have a three-bedroom house. So now you go on the reliance that we said you can have it, but Title V says you can't have it. But you have a three-bedroom design that I don't see anything on here that says that other than in an email chain, right? And I haven't reached out to town council and got their opinion. I don't expect this to be decided tonight, but I'm just telling you stuff that I found. And assuming that you're 100-foot frontage, you don't have 100-foot frontage, you have 0 frontage because it's a landlocked piece, right? So call it for what it is. The encroachments, when you take the shed down, you can, if you're encroaching to your setbacks and it's after 10 years, you can keep that thing forever, right? Until it falls down. You get constructive approval, right? Because nobody objected to it, right?
I think they all pre-existed zoning.
No, I understand that. But once they take it down, and that's not part of the residential structure, so you can't even use that to encroach into that line, so that's a hard argument to make, right? The cabin itself is what we're talking about. The cabin itself is clearly within the setback, but it's a pre-existing non-conforming lot because it doesn't have area or frontage. So the only thing that you can do is replace the footprint by right, without any nonsense. And I don't see how you can increase this to anything over a one-bedroom house.
So if I could weigh in on that. Similar to the last application where you didn't want to consider the town council being weighing in on the property or conservation having impact to your decision, that is a different board's issue. I think what we're talking about today is 20 inches of a sideline setback, whether the structure be wide open and have no bedrooms or have 16 bedrooms. I think what we're here for is a side yard setback variance, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're not here for that. You're here for a special permit to increase the nonconformity of the lot, right? The nonconformity of the lot increases when you increase that structure size. That structure size is increasing,
we're
right?
The extension of a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot.
Right. So
we're not here to discuss bedrooms and septic systems.
But you might not be, but I'm going to bring it up.
Absolutely.
Right? So you might not want to discuss it, but the problem is
those discussions and approvals are going to be at a different board.
Yeah, but that word that I snuck in there as we were talking, reliance, right? If this board approves you for that house,
we still have to go to the Board of Health.
No, you're moving forward on the reliance that you got approved, so now you can argue with the Board of Health.
So
right?
we can just put a structure there. If you give us a variance for the structure, we can put a structure there. It doesn't say how many bedrooms we can build. I'll entertain the Board of Health question because it's in the email chain that you've suggested or requested that the board have. This is a pre-existing non-conforming lot, not only to zoning, because the lot was created in 1950. Mm-hmm. It predated Title V. Title V came out in 1978. So in 1978, Title V comes into effect, and all the Massachusetts septic systems have to be up to code with the new sanitary regulations. Mm-hmm. So this lot is considered pre-existing non-conforming to Title V.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask you one question. You'll humor me now, right? So now that you're making this argument, right?
Yep.
Why'd you go through all the trouble of making a septic design? Why didn't you just put in a cesspool?
Because Title V doesn't allow cesspools. If you
no, wait a minute. Your grandfather, it's predated Title V, right? The lot. So why?
I'm going to answer it if you let me.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So what Title V says is if you have enough land area and the soil is suitable, you have to put a septic system in. You can do a tight tank only if you don't have the available land area and you don't have available perk tests.
How many square feet per bedroom? Per
10,000 square feet.
Okay.
Came into effect 28 years later after the lot was created. Lot was created in 1950. 1978, they say Title V exists. And then I think 2006, they put in the 10,000 square foot per bedroom. So let me just finish.
Yeah.
We have dozens and dozens of these septic systems, which we call increase in flow, not only in Douglas, but all over the state of Massachusetts.
No, I only care about Douglas.
So
You got to find this with me. I only care about Douglas. I don't care about anything else.
In Douglas,
Yeah.
284 Northwest Main Street was a smaller lot approved for a 3-bedroom design, and this issue didn't come up with this board. You didn't ask the Board of Health to put a restriction on Jason Randor's property. So it's very odd that you're asking it for this property.
Not very odd. Is
It's
when
a smaller lot on a steeper property with smaller area and had the same cabin, 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
So let me go further. Because the lot was undersized per Title V, what is allowed is when you increase the flow from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, you can only do so if you don't require any waivers from Title V. So it's called an increase in flow that is considered new construction design criteria. In other words, you can't get a waiver from the size of the leach field from 25% reduction in the leach field. You can't get a setback distance from a property line to the leach field. You can't get a perk rate sieve analysis done. You don't get the same leniency that you do with a septic repair when you do an increase in flow. You have to design your system to meet all the Title V standards as if it were brand new construction. You get no relief, and that's what this plan is. Title V also says that the minimum size you can design a septic system for a new structure is 3 bedrooms.
Right.
The minimum.
Okay.
And if for some reason you can't fit that 3-bedroom design, you could go to a 2-bedroom design with a deed restriction. Again, this is all separate from the fact that this lot was created before Title V existence, and the lot is grandfathered from that exclusion. So we've designed this septic system to meet
So
the standard.
grandfathering applies to Title V?
The size of the lot, yes,
No, and so that's zoning.
and Title V. You can't impose a 10,000 square foot per. And like I say, this will all come out because we've done dozens of these in Douglas. I just gave you 284 Northwest Main Street, 278 Northwest Main Street. I could go through my files. I've been working here a lot. They're called increase in flow, new construction standards. But again, that's a Board of Health issue, but you raised it, I wanted to answer it.
Yeah, so why, me personally, why didn't it come up on 284 Northwest Main Street? Because I wasn't aware of it.
How'd you come aware of it?
Through this Pine Street thing and talking to Donatelli and then start talking about this lot, because then it came out as all this different conversations about septic systems. I started digging into it. Then when I read through your email chain, I went on and started looking under Title V rules to see if I could find your grandfathering idea. I didn't find it on there. I don't think you can do that, but
it's been done for decades.
Yep, no, that's fine.
And there is a state.
Like I said, it's not going to be settled tonight.
Exactly.
So we're going to get answers to all these questions.
Yes. The state has a section for wastewater treatment, and there are folks there that easily answer this too. If Steve, for some reason, wants to defer to DEP, we're more than happy to show you at DEP.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful just for educational and everything else.
But again, like to Mark Richard's point, we're looking for a special permit for a structure setback to the side yard for 16 inches.
Yeah, that's how you interpret it. How I interpret it is because it's a pre-existing non-conforming, you're asking for an increase of the footprint, because by right, all you can do is use the same footprint. So that's part of the special. It's not just the dimensional sideline setbacks. You're increasing it.
Part of that, but the new structures, the new structure is part of the application too, correct?
Yeah.
So.
And that's the trigger for part of the special permit, right? Because you're increasing the square footage on the parcel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the only other thing that, would be the issues, it would be the stairs and stuff like that, because we want to keep you in the footprint as much as possible, right? You know what I mean, to keep you more conforming and stuff. So I just wanted clarification just about the right-of-way and stuff like that, and access point, that's all. Just so we don't set precedent, that's my concern.
Sure.
And as well as you guys can clarify whatever the septic, whatever it is, that, you've got data on that. You referenced the property, I believe that was a 3-bedroom property at that time, so back in 284, so. That, it was able to leverage that, because that's what it was.
Sure.
So that would be a helpful clarification and stuff like that, Mark. I think that's the big thing that we need to just get our arms around and get council to weigh in on anything, as well as resolve those things.
Sure.
That's the main thing. Has this been submitted before? Because we're trying to do things in parallel. Has this been gone before conservation?
2 nights ago, yeah.
Okay, you're on there.
Monday night, we had a conservation hearing.
Okay.
We got a DEP letter back from the Wetlands Division at Mass DEP.
Okay.
They had no comments. It conformed to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. They didn't have any issues. This property also has about a 40-foot ring of natural heritage, endangered species, priority habitat.
You're in the yellow?
Yeah, so we were in the yellow. We filed that. We filed the MISA application, and both of those came back as a no-take. So the endangered species folks deemed that this application, the plans that are before you, will not negatively impact the areas.
Okay.
And we got continued, so we...
What was the endangered species, if you don't mind me asking?
It wasn't a species, it's not an animal, it's more of a plant, a vegetated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just for clarification as well. I've had to file with those guys too.
Yeah. So they do their review, they looked at the old outhouse and the pump house and dilapidated structures, and they...
Question to the chair, just what, you have existing structure that's sitting on the parcel, 40s, 30s, whatever, 50s. What, was there a cesspool?
An outhouse.
Okay. Then no cesspool out from there?
Not that we know of.
Okay. No, the reason...
I don't know what's under an outhouse.
No. You just did a project, right? You did reference.
Yeah.
284, that had the outhouse.
That had a cesspool.
No, that had an outhouse.
All right, so let's not argue back. I want to keep the meeting going, but I still need to open it up to the audience.
Put there, so that's why.
Okay.
Okay. That helps.
Anybody else have any more questions for the applicant at the table? No. Anybody in the audience?
Just one comment.
Oh, wait, no?
Okay, I apologize.
Yep. I've already opened it up, and the gentleman can come forward. Just state your name for the minute taker, please.
Yeah, my name is Henry Lane, and I'm here on behalf of some of the neighbors.
Yep.
Will the microphone?
That can move over to him. Well, that one will pick him up right in front of everyone.
I just want to mention.
Yeah, he'll pick him up. There you go, Henry. He's even bringing you a chair.
I'll stand for the moment. I've been sitting long enough today. All right, there's a couple of issues. Some get into the weeds. Let me start with the big one, sort of the elephant in the room, which is your bylaw, which in section 3.4.3 talks about abandoned structures. And it expressly says that a building that hasn't been occupied for 2 years is considered abandoned. And upon abandonment, you lose your pre-existing non-conforming status. And I think the evidence that I've seen suggests that the building's been vacant for about 35 years. So it hasn't been used for residential purposes for well in excess of 2 years. So our view is that it's lost its grandfather, its pre-existing non-conforming status. And I understand it's got, the 5,000 square feet and 50 feet of frontage, but that's not an issue because the Section 6 pre-existing use only applies to vacant lots, not to lots that have or have had buildings on them. So this is not a vacant lot, so it doesn't get the protections of Section 6, Chapter 40A, and therefore it has to, essentially, new construction has to comply with the current bylaws, and obviously it can't because this lot's not big enough with respect to area or frontage. So that's the big elephant. As I say, maybe there's evidence that somebody slept there in the last 35 years, but the information I have is that has not happened. So that's the first thing. The second thing also, I think there's a misunderstanding about the encroachments in the side lot setback. The special permit does not authorize the board to grant variances from setback requirements. If the existing building that's being reconstructed had a setback issue on the, I guess that's the west side, then you could maintain that setback violation, but as I understand it, that's not the case here. There's basically a substantial additional encroachment on the west side. In fact, the whole building is within the setback on the westerly side. And in addition to that, there appears to be a stairway. It's not labeled, but I guess that's a stairway. That's also entirely in the setback. That's a new encroachment in the setback. To get encroachments in the setback area, you need a variance. You can't do that by special permit unless the existing building is already there. Then you can do it by special permit. But this is not a footprint. The existing building does not have a footprint where this building encroaches in the setback. So even if the board was to give a special permit, it cannot, by special permit, authorize that encroachment on the westerly side. So that has to go. Now you want to get really far into the weeds. As I understand it, there's a couple of retaining walls proposed, and they're in the setback as well. And you probably don't realize this, but your bylaws define retaining walls as structures, and they have to comply with setbacks as well. So all those retaining walls have to be adjusted to come within the setbacks because they're not permitted in the setback areas without a variance. In addition, we understand that the well is also only 18 feet from the water and needs to be at least 25 feet from the water, so that has to be relocated as well, as we understand it. So those are all issues. As I say, the abandonment issue is a primary issue. The setback issue is a secondary, but is enough to require basically the board to deny the special permit because they haven't got a variance to allow it. Now the big, the other issue, and I think it was sort of brought up, but the impact on the neighborhood. Clearly I'm here because the neighbors are unhappy with this proposal. This is an 18,000 square foot lot, and we understand there's lots of small lots in Douglas on Lakes. That's sort of the nature of the beast. But this is, another effort to basically build, call it a small Douglas-sized McMansion on a tiny lot. And it pushes, well, it actually goes beyond the side lot setbacks, but even on the easterly side, it pushes it right up against it and basically fills up the entire envelope. And it's just much too large a structure for the size lot you have here. You're just overburdening it and imposing it. And to suggest that this has no adverse impact on neighbors is just not consistent with the evidence. Both neighbors are going to have basically a lot that has now been clear cut, and you're going to have a sizable structure, and I haven't seen the elevation, so I don't know exactly how tall the building's going to be, but it's going to be a building that's 52 feet wide. It's a huge building with respect to the size of the lot, and it's going to be an imposition on neighbors on both sides. There's no way to get around that. And it has, well, it's dramatically bigger than the existing building, but it's going to have an impact. And I understand that nobody wants development in their immediate neighborhood. Everybody wants open space, and if you can have the forest, you want the forest. But we have to have some respect to the neighbors, and I think you have to keep this whole concept in a scale that makes sense. We're going from a 3-room cottage and I guess the footprint in this house is around 1,500 square feet. Without the garage, with the garage, it's well over 2,000 square feet. And is it a two-story house, or is it?
Two-story, yeah.
It's a Cape style.
Excuse me?
It's a Cape style.
Two-story.
So, what are you talking about, 3,000 square feet of space? I mean, that's a big house on a tiny lot. Just doesn't make sense scale-wise, and, basically, we're suggesting that even if it technically complied, which we say it doesn't meet the criteria that it not have an adverse impact on the neighbors, because it does. So if they want to come back with, a house that makes some sense with respect to the size of the lot, that's something the neighbors would probably be willing to consider. Their immediate interest isn't to deny any use of the lot, but, they'd like to have a use of the lot that's appropriate to the size of the lot. Maybe that's possible, maybe it isn't possible, but one thing's certain is that this is not a house that is consistent with the requirements of the special permit criteria, even if it technically complied, which, as I indicated, it doesn't. So, I'm not going to spend the rest of the night making speeches, but just make it clear that this technically doesn't comply, and it's also inappropriate for the neighborhood, so it should be denied on both of those grounds. And we can talk about septic systems, and I'm happy to do that someday. But I think you've heard enough about that, and the Board of Health, I'm sure, will address that once we open their eyes and enlighten them on what the requirements are here. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to respond to his comment that I shut you up on?
You forgot it already?
So you were talking about precedent and a prior application with Mark, and I just want to also point out that at the end of June, there was another one that's very similar to this one at 400 Northwest Main Street. It was the applicants were Ryan and Karen Murphy. Actually, it's Cottage Colony.
Yep.
They called it 400 Northwest Main Street. Yeah. So I just want to point out that that's another one to kind of look at. And,
that one there is a two-bedroom. They had a two-bedroom cottage, and they have and we're not here to hear this case, but I'll answer your question. They had a two-bedroom cottage. They put in another two-bedroom cottage, and they put in a tight tank, which I'm not in agreement with, but I'm not on the Board of Health, so I guess. But anyways, getting back to this case, yes.
Through the chair, just one clarification on the retaining walls. The retaining walls do not need a building permit. They've been specifically designed to be less than 4 feet tall. So the retaining walls they don't have a footing. They don't need a building permit, so they don't fall under the determination of needing a structure and setback. They're landscape walls that are only 3.5 feet tall.
Well, something, as I said, we're not going to, I don't think we're going to sell this this evening. You heard comments, whether it was from the board, from the audience, from representation from the neighbors, even from your own group. Yes, Dan, 1 minute. There's a lot of questions in there, and I think they need to be answered in order to have a fair decision made, whichever direction. But I'm going to recognize Mr. Heaney.
Dan Heaney, 44 Shady Lane.
Yeah.
Just to clarify one thing, Mr. Ward said that the person living to the east of this lot wanted to buy it. That is absolutely false, because I did my due diligence. I knew on an 18,000 square foot lot, the largest septic system that I could put in there per Title V, which is, by the way, section 2.14-2 in the Mass DEP regulations. So I knew I didn't want to build a one-bedroom home there, so I had no interest in buying it whatsoever. And I have lived there for 37 years, and my neighbors have lived there longer than I have, and Mr. John Sensak was the original owner 38 years ago. He passed away shortly after we moved in 37 years ago. And that building has been vacant for 37 years, unused and vacant. No one has spent one night on that property in the last 37 years. And it's clearly been unused and abandoned.
Yeah.
What's the hell?
Is that it? Yeah. That's an issue that you need to address, that abandonment issue. It's 3.4.6, I think is what it was. We're going to need an answer on that when you come back. Yeah, 3.4.6. The town itself had a similar situation. The school was up on the second floor. This was back in 2016 when they wanted to expand upstairs. The school had moved out. It was greater than 2 years. We used it for storage, and they were no longer grandfathered in for the occupancy up there. So then it's been storage forever, waiting to get sprinklers and whatnot up there. So that abandonment thing, you definitely have to address that. That is a big concern, actually. I think Cemetery Street has a similar lot. The structure was taken down, so it was over the 2 or 3 year period. I think it's 3 years that we have after demolition. Reconstruct. State law is 2. The town has 3. It's like a gift. But then you lose the rights, so now the lot's all screwed up. You can't even build on it because nobody ever rebuilt after they tore down the house. So this is a very similar situation, so I would want some clarification on that. As far as your the comments from the attorney on the retaining walls and the setbacks and your comments in opposition to it, I'll have to get clarification from the building official. He's on vacation this week. So again, we have another member that's on vacation, but this is what happens. They take them in the wintertime. If it is determined under a building code that it's a structure is a structure, right? So if it's within the setback, then we have to consider that.
Yeah, we went through this with Tony Brookhouse's property.
But the stairs are, I wasn't involved in that, so that's good. The stairs, they're attached to the house, and I would consider those as part of the structure we've had on previous things. Even you brought up 284 Northwest Main Street. We included the overhangs on the house. I don't know if you have those included or if you're up to the foundation on this one.
Yeah, this doesn't have the same architectural 18-inch roof overhang that did.
So does it have an overhang?
The architect did show it, an overhang on it. So.
Yeah, so if we included them before, then we might as well include them again, right? So get those into that, just so we're trying to be consistent.
Excuse me, can I make a comment?
Yeah, one second. One second. I'm not going to run away on you.
That's all right.
Yeah. Anybody else in the room have any other comments? No? State your name for the record, please.
Francis Marcoux, 52 Shady Lane, the other side of the property.
You're on the west side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, they mentioned precedent a lot. I don't think the board can rely on precedent because regardless of what past decisions are made, if they're not correct or illegal, has no bearing on what's happening right now. You have to weigh your decision based on what the rules are in place. That's the way I understand precedent.
Yeah, so as far as precedent goes, and I'm going to tell you my own personal opinion on that, I don't have precedent. Every case is individual. Whether I was right or wrong yesterday doesn't dictate what today is, and I could be wrong today, right? So I don't go with precedent. So do you have anything else to add for this particular case?
Nope, just a concern about that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything on this?
Just a question regarding, I think the variance versus the special permit, you might trigger that with the stairs. That's the only thing that might be the sticky spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll review that.
Yeah, I think that might be the only thing. But
And it might be a variance for the structure itself.
Yeah, but you applied for a special permit, right? So we're going to stay under the criteria for a special permit unless you're applying for a variance at some point, and that's a totally different thing. But I will agree with the remarks made by the attorney that we don't, you can't give a variance on setback and a permit, a special permit, right? Sometimes we'll do them, there'll be a special permit and a variance at the same time. In this particular case, it's a special permit, so. Is your desire to continue this for another month?
Yes, please.
I don't know if we have any.
Is that a desire? Would the board accept some briefs on the matter, on the legal matters that came up, to supplement the information that we've got? And if so, how?
I wouldn't want you, wait a minute, I wouldn't want you giving me legal advice. All right? I would rely on town council to do that for me. In all respect, nor would I expect Henry to give me legal advice as a board member. I listen to what he's saying. I listen to what you're saying. I know enough to be dangerous that I can pick through it, but any legal advice would have to come from town council because I would be negligent to take it from anybody else.
Would it be all right if I contacted, would it be all right with the chair if I contacted town council regarding the issues at hand?
No, you couldn't. You'd have to go to the town administrator because the board doesn't have the authority to incur costs for the town. He's the chief procurement officer, and it's an hourly based fee. So we just don't hand out the town council to everybody. You could talk about whatever, right? And 6 hours later, we have an extremely high bill, and we still don't have the answer to the original question. But anyways, if we don't have anything else, we're going to continue it for another month. I thought Jen typically gives us continuing forms. Let's see if I get lucky and request for extension. There we go. Who's going to fill it out?
Next meeting. I think our next meeting might be 4. 5th. Yeah, I think that's 4.
Yeah, wait, so before you put the dates on them, so on this, you need a supermajority, so you need 4 people. You have 4 people. One of our little elves is going to be missing next month.
I'll do my best effort to.
What, Zoom in?
Zoom in.
No. Well, you could. I can't tell you can't, but it's not a productive way to do it. I don't know if you guys want to do a 60-day extension versus a 30-day, but if this gentleman decided to take his wife on vacation, and whether or not he's going to be able to Zoom in may or may not work. There is another member. He's missed 2 meetings in a row. I can't guarantee that he's going to be here next month, and then he would have to watch the tape and do the Mullen rule. You only do that once during the case. So you guys have to decide accordingly. I'm just trying to give you the information you're going to need to do it.
And so it's possible that we'd have 5 members if we did the 60-day extension.
Well, yeah, it was possible you have 5 tonight, but he didn't show up, right?
If the other member watched the video.
Yeah. Or next month you could have 4. You know, Sean could be here.
If Sean showed up.
Yeah, you could have 5.
I mean, I'm just telling you because I don't want to
Zoom in or I'm going to be
have you fill out a form to tell you that.
Time zone difference.
Way to make it.
So.
I think we'll do the 30-day.
You do it.
That's okay.
Yep.
February 4 is the date?
Yep. I think it just says 30-day extension, right?
Extension of time.
Oh.
Continuance of hearing to February 4.
We could do time to update the plan.
Yeah,
address those little things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So you checked off the second one, right? Continuance?
Number 2, continuance of the
okay,
hearing
yep.
on the application to February 4th,
Yep,
2026.
yep. And you get the applicant and the date and the property address and all that on the top.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
All righty. So, don't everybody take off yet. We need to vote to make a motion to continue this. You want to make a motion to continue it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to continue Presco Trust LLC, case number 2026-0148 Shady Lane to February 4th at 7 p.m.
Yep.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to join us to finish the meeting?
Bathroom break?
Margaret, I don't know if she left or not.
I'll go get her.
Yeah, go get her. Oh, no. We're only going to do the minutes. Bound.
We could have Neil.
Yeah, Neil's here, but I can take this.
Okay. All right, we pause.
He just waited. No, he's Andrew, did you know that was a birthday?
Oh, is it today?
He's a chief.
Jumbo donuts.
Working good down there.
Yeah, Frank, we just continued the meeting for this hearing to February 4th at 7 p.m. Just so you know. I'm not sure if he has me or not.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, give him the chance to drop off if you want to.
All right, so does everybody have a chance to read? Oh, no, let's bring Neil up.
Yep,
He doesn't
let's get
want to sit
Neil.
here any longer than possible. Come on up, Neil.
Jesus. He was, Neil, you've been taking notes, you know, new terminology of everything, and no, what's up, John? Yeah, I get busy. Oh. New baby, Christmas, I don't know.
All right, Neil, we make any advancements on our infamous light conversation? Because I don't want it to get lost. Are we doing any progress on those lights?
Well, we do have a couple, we have some lights on order right now that we want to put on the granite posts.
We didn't decide to go along with those granite posts. We were talking about the original
Correct.
design lights. So you have lights on order to go on the granite posts. That's not what we agreed to.
Agreed, we didn't agree on anything. So we wanted to get some lighting in on the boulevard entrance and for the winter.
Okay.
We're not going to be able to put any street lights in period until springtime.
Yeah.
And we might be able to incorporate these lights if we do decide not to use a granite post.
Okay.
These would go on other poles as well.
Okay, so you need like temporary lighting?
Oh, I had two of them, all right.
All right.
I have a cut sheet if you guys
Yeah.
would like to see it.
All right. Yep. Cool.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
But this is only a temporary lighting. So
Until we come to a conclusion on what we're going to do with the
so
post.
I'm gonna need something from you that some sort of memo sent to Jen saying that your intentions are to put that in as a temporary lighting until you resolve this lighting issue. Because Tim sometimes gets amnesia and he remembers certain things, so I don't want him to assume that, well, we showed you the cut sheet and you guys didn't say nothing. So I want something sent to Jen that you're using this as a temporary lighting until the lighting's resolved.
Okay.
That's all. Not to be difficult, I just, as I said to everybody else, documentation is how we got to do things. Word of mouth doesn't work.
Just a question through the chair.
Yeah.
So Neil, this light fixture would mount on the granite post? Would there be an extension on it and then into the granite post? What would be like the finished height?
Finished height would be approximately 8 feet.
8 feet with this light? Okay. And so the granite post is about 6, and then this is another 2 feet on top of that? Yeah. Okay. For temporary lighting for the lane, you could call it probably?
The boulevard entrance.
Boulevard, lane, okay. All right. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
What wattage, what lumens before the listed?
They're adjustable. Yeah.
80 to 100 to 120 to 150.
On the watts. The
And-
lumen's
yeah,
up to 19,000, so if you want to get a suntan, you go out and hang out underneath this thing.
Good. Did you guys get the big freeze up there with all the snow and ice and everything?
It's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's frozen right now.
Yeah. At least you got the top coat down on some stuff, so you get.
Yeah, we got that in just.
That's huge, right? So, and that'll help. So, good deal.
There's some notes in here about on phase 4, you have some ponding in here. Did you see, you got this?
I did.
You got this. You want to comment on that while I'm writing this down?
We have some minimal ponding on phase 4's paving. As soon as the weather breaks and we can actually move some dirt, we'll alleviate those. But it is minimal. And there are some photos in the report.
How's your construction on phase 4 related to, because we get the freeze, right? And some of the things that happen is like you open up everything and then you freeze. You got temporary swales in or whatever else to deal with any of the water and the snow and the.
We currently don't have any temporary swales in phase 4. Okay. I have one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I do have one area with the temporary swale, some riprap and stuff to get the water off of the road.
Yep. Okay. Mediate it. Okay. Good.
There are 2 more smaller locations.
Okay. I just haven't been up there, and I know during, when winter hits and the freeze and the melting and all that other stuff, it's challenging. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you open things up but you didn't get to finish it. So it's still under construction, and that's what people got to realize. So, all right.
So on this report you have, we have pretty small this time, I don't know.
Is this yours?
All the other stuff where you guys get real busy.
No.
Paved roadway edges cracked at.
Oh, to sign?
Is that the entrance road or is that?
I signed it.
And after you go past the model home in the phase 1?
That would be the boulevard entrance.
The road entrance? Yeah. Okay. The boulevard? Failing sidewalk asphalt, is that the same area or is that throughout phase 1? This is all phase 1 stuff I'm reading.
So I would, that would be in phase 1.
Yeah, it says phase 1, but is it on the boulevard or is it in the phase after the model home?
I believe it's after the model home.
Okay. And you haven't top coated those sidewalks yet?
No, we didn't make it this winter.
Damaged guardrail 2 plus 50 to 3 plus double Road A Phase 1. Is that on the entranceway?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. And you talked about that before, that you're going to redo all that stuff anyways.
Correct. And the fire department just hit it, so.
Yeah.
Bumped into it.
Nudged.
Nudged it. Signs of puddling on sidewalks, Road B. Where's Road B?
Road B,
So you haven't done the sidewalk top coat, so.
Correct.
So the sidewalks, we're going to skip over that. Waring and Boulevard Road, you're going to redo that. You told me you're going to grind it and redo it, or remove it and redo it or something. Sediment, vegetation, and center of swale Road A, that must be in the 6-inch minus. Yeah. Sidewalk collecting sediment in front of Unit 17. They haven't been top coated, so we're going to skip over that. Incorrect street light, we already talked about that. Phase 2, stone check dam between storm cell 57 and storm cell 59, not per design.
I discussed that with Leonard Engineering. As soon as weather breaks.
Okay, so you're going to address it when the weather cooperates.
I just needed some clarification.
Yep. We're back to the multiple street trees under size, 6/4/24. So we talked to that before. It is determined that a single tree is under the required 2-inch caliber. And Neil's hope is it's going to grow real quick, and then when he gets to it, it's already up there. Just make it light. Well, we did talk about that with the comments.
Let's keep going here. You're talking about trees growing in the wintertime.
Incorrect street lighting, we already talked about that. Erosion at gutter discharge of storm basin 2. Repair erosion, so you're waiting for the weather to cooperate?
No, that has been taken care of.
That is done?
Yeah, I didn't ask for it to get removed off the list.
Okay. Phase 3, poor vegetation cover on western side of Road C. Has since added loom, and the seed will as well in complete aeration. Continue to monitor. Okay, so he's addressed it. Phase 4, you already talked about it. So when the weather cooperates, you're going to take the material away from the side of the road to get that to drain properly. It's easy to see in the pictures that the dirt is a higher elevation than the asphalt, so common sense tells you that you're going to have a puddle. Anybody have anything for Neil? Now, the bond issue that we had before, I have zero idea where we are with that thing. I haven't heard anything from anybody on that. Leonard Engineering had submitted that, right?
The Leonard Engineering has submitted the quantity. We submitted the bond form to town council for their review.
Okay.
Approximately 60 days ago.
Okay.
And we didn't know if our council would be able to discuss the form with town council.
Yeah, so you heard the answer I just gave.
I did, but I have to ask a question.
Yeah, I know that.
We're not in charge of the meter.
But we have been waiting.
Yep.
So what I'm writing down, Neil, is we need an answer on the bond. It has been 60 days. And I'll get on that first thing in the morning and see if I can get an answer for you. I believe it still has to come before the board, but I'll stay on it and make sure it gets done. I'm not the chairman, and I'm not trying to slight it, but when I'm in the vice chairman mode, I'm only doing what I do tonight, right? But I'll take this on and I'll just follow up on it, make sure that we get it addressed.
Thank you.
I'm not saying, I have no idea if Dan's had any conversations because we don't talk about it. So he'll be the first one that I talk to about it.
Just through the chair, do you have a punch list of things you're gonna tackle like early spring, just to educate us to say, okay, hey.
So we're going to continue to monitor and take care of all the grass, anywhere that's sparse. We'll redo that. It is ongoing, we'll fertilize, and we also want to get the rest of the top coat for the sidewalks in the spring.
If you could just,
in conjunction with that, we want to get started on phase 4.
Okay. If you could just put that in email too, just for our records and stuff like that, just so we can keep it fresh.
I'm sorry?
Where we're starting to get down to a smaller manageable list, and what he's asking for is just your proposed schedule, so just that we have something to go by, so then we can beat you up in a couple months and say, Neil, you said you were going to do it.
That sounds great.
But we can also check things off that are completed, and work with you on that. And I mean, so if you could do a proposed timeline, like, hey, this is what we're thinking in the spring, it gives us something to go by, and that way there we see the progress and the ball continuing to go wrong. So.
Does anybody else have anything for Neil?
We thought the lighting long-term plan versus temperature?
Well, no, we have to get, they're looking into, I gave them the information, they're looking into that. That's in their ballpark, actually, to figure out this lighting thing. The 8-foot tall light is I think the original design was like 18 feet, so and there's a substantial difference between the two. But if nobody else has anything else, I'm going to entertain this nice, patient young lady over there in the audience to see if she has anything for us.
Yeah, so my name is Norma Cravey. I'm a current resident at the complex at 36 Nautical Way. I bought the house back in May. I do have a laundry list of stuff that's wrong with the inside of my home. I don't think that's relevant here. But in terms of exterior and safety concerns, I do have a sinkhole developing in my driveway. I brought it to the attention of Neil. I was told to wait. It is now growing linear, where it's a 2-inch gap between the end of my garage and my driveway. It's getting deeper and deeper. That's a problem. It's a safety concern. I paid for an upgrade to have my patio done in the back of my house. It appears to be not, I guess the right word, leveled correctly, and I have water pooling at the back. I think that's a hazard.
Bless you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Hazard.
You're right.
Yeah. The other thing, 2 of my 4 entry doors, one broke, it was in the basement, it was replaced, and it was replaced with only the deadbolts. I don't have a lock on the door. That was fine. But now my entry door to my garage has just come right off. That's concerning. I'm a single person. I live by myself, and now that's a safety issue to me. I have a garage door that is offline, and I have a gaping gap, and I can stick my hand outside. I now have it stuffed with foam so I don't get rodents, or I just think it's just a lot of exterior stuff that are wrong that has not been addressed. I have an erosion problem in my front yard. I cannot grow grass. It's mud. I have sent multiple texts asking for responses, and they're just, not addressed. I now have a tub that I can't use. When I had my closet was not done. It was left drywall with exposed nails, and I requested him to come and repair it. It was never repaired, and I had to do it myself. So I'm just bringing this to light, that there is multiple issues with some of these units, mine one of them, and there's just been non-response. I do give him credit when I said my tub is broken and I can't use it. He came out, looked at it, and now I have to chase the plumber down to fix it, and I cannot use my tub.
And as a courtesy, I listened to what you said, because you understand, because you already acknowledged it. Building concerns, we have zero jurisdiction over that. The building official has to take care of those. But if he's already inspected it and signed off on it, then that's a civil thing. That would be.
Right.
I know that. I'm just explaining it to you. I'm trying to help you. It's Neil's list is getting smaller as far as our concerns are. Hopefully that he's listening to what you're saying, and he's going to look into some of these things and see what he can do to help you with it, right?
I hope so, because I was told that I had a year of access to the contractors if there was anything wrong within my house.
Yeah. But wait a minute, Neil, stop, please. No interaction amongst you. You guys can talk about whatever after the fact. And that's just to keep things civil. That's why I stopped that. You heard me at the beginning. I stopped the banter in between two people, so it's nothing personal. If there is, I want you, because it's under our jurisdiction, if there's settling in the driveway, I want you to look at it and see what the issue is with that. As far as the installation of a patio in the back, that's nothing to do with us. That, unfortunately, that's under your jurisdiction. You have to chase it down. If I could ask you anything, Neil, I would just appreciate it if you could at least look at these things and see if it's something that that makes sense, just out of good faith, to see if you can help some of the issues. The less negative things that you have there is only going to help you. Is there anything else, ma'am?
No.
As far as the stuff that falls under our purview, the mud in the front yard with the erosion and the settling, any comments on that, or you have to look at it first?
I'll take a look at it. I know the erosion, that area, we're going to have to touch it up in the spring, and it was something that went in a little late. The settling of the driveway, I'll take a look at it. I know when I spoke with her, I told her, we'll see what happens this spring, we'll take care of it, but with the cold weather, I really can't patch that this time.
Right. Is it, has that one been top coated?
Yes.
That's unfortunate, but anyways. You just look at it. I don't.
Coated mean? Does that mean it's been?
Well, the top coat means that, so you get a base coat and you get a top coat. Top coat's finished.
Okay.
Right. So that's why I was at. And the reason why I was asking him that, it makes it easier for him as it's easier to make a repair on the base coat than the top coat, because then your patch gets hidden with the top coat. Well, covered over, not hidden, but you know what I mean. You don't see the mismatch. Nobody's online, so you're off the hook on that. So action items, I'm going to follow up on the bond for it. You're going to look into the lighting stuff. You address some of these other things. If you can, just as a courtesy, if nothing else to us as a board, look into some of these concerns to see if it's something that you can take care of. It'll make things a lot easier for everybody involved, the residents, the board, and yourself. With that, unless you have anything else, I guess we're good.
I know we did put in a request. I didn't know if the board would be open to issuing us a couple building permits while we're working through this bond with town council.
No, you gotta get, that bond has to be done.
Yep.
That bond is because it's in the MOU.
Yeah.
It's stated that way. And so we can't, that would be a modification to the MOU. So we can't do it.
Okay.
Right. If I could, I would sympathize with you and help you keep moving along, but I'll get, like I said, I'll get on with that bond thing first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
I'll be on it.
Okay.
Yeah, plus I think you'd have it challenging with the winter and the cold, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
fighting the weather. I get you.
Agreed 100%.
Yeah, but I think timing, I think if the, the bond and everything else, and then, we've got time, we meet February 4th.
But he's just trying to get the season started, right? And they got a bunch of holes prepped and stuff. I understand what they're trying to do. The bond, so who set, so Leonard did the quantities.
Correct.
And who did the values?
Leonard.
Okay, so Leonard is the peer review, right? They're supposed to review what's submitted by your engineering company. Who is your engineering company?
Alan.
Why didn't they prepare it?
Well, Leonard charged us to do that. Leonard was asked what items needed to be completed in order for us to be in
Yeah,
compliance.
so just to be transparent, I'm going to question this as to this, we need a peer review. And what you just told me is they're acting as your engineer. So they're supposed to look at, Ronnie draws it up, Les looks at it and says, yeah, Ronnie, you're right. Les doesn't say, oh, I'm just going to do it, Ronnie, don't worry about it. There is no peer review being done if Leonard is acting as the engineer on the project.
Allen Engineering was going to do it. We were told that Leonard Engineering was going to...
Who told you that?
When we originally got the bond estimate.
Who told you that?
In January.
Who told you that Leonard was going to be the engineer that had figured it out? It just doesn't make sense, because we need a peer review, and that works independent.
Well, that's how it usually happens. The town engineer does the bond estimate.
The town engineer historically has sent it out to peer review to come up with it, because he historically didn't want to put his name on it. He always used a peer review, whether it was Leonard Engineering, which is now Haley and Ward, right?
Sorry.
We used Leonard historically, and which is fine. I call him Leonard too. But they were used as a peer review from the town side. Now the applicant, which is you, is using them as and how I see it is as a primary engineering. There's nobody reviewing him.
Oh, no. So just to interject, I think Leonard /Haley Ward is working on the town's behalf. So the only thing that you're missing is an applicant would come before us and the planning board and stuff like that. The town engineer would be the facilitator and would hand it off to the consultant engineering working on the town's behalf. You, as a developer, you could submit in and say, it's 500 yards of material that's needed to pave the road. The engineer would go do their calculations on the behalf of the town, would calculate it and say, no, we came up with 550. The town would say, we agree with the 550. They would then turn around and calculate and say, it's this much per yard. You know what I mean? And that's what it was done in the past. I think that's still the situation, because Leonard and Haley Ward is working on our behalf, overseeing the project.
Disagree with you 100%. How do you pay Haley and Ward or Leonard?
Out of the 53G.
Absolutely. They're a peer review for the town, gets paid through, they pay for that peer review. There is no peer review happening. That engineering firm is acting as the engineer to come up with all the figures. He's not confirming nothing. He's establishing it. He is acting as the engineer on the project.
So no, you guys have your own engineer.
Correct.
You're not using Haley and Ward.
No, but Haley Ward was asked by the town to prepare what needed to be completed in the project.
So the town asked them, so now I need to find out who in the town, because the Zoning Board of Appeals, since 2009, when this was created through the Board of Selectmen, was designated as the body that would oversee this project. Nobody outside of the board has the authority to turn around and tell the engineering firms as to what to do.
I'm just taking it as that the Haley Ward / Leonard is working on the behalf of the zoning board, looking out for the town's best interests as a consultant engineer. How they're paid from the 53G is similar to on a planning board situation, where the developer and their engineer, I forget who you guys use. Allen. You guys use Allen and stuff like that. The independent party is the town, and the engineer that the town hires. You guys, a developer, pays the 53G account because they pay for that consulting engineer that's working on the town's behalf.
Yeah. I agree with your second half. I disagree with your first half. Because you said it, but you didn't listen to yourself. The consulting engineer, he's not consulting if he's engineering it.
Well, he's not supposed to engineer anything. He's supposed to review.
That's what he just said, is he came up with the quantities. So the consulting, the peer review should be confirming the quantities, not establishing the quantities.
Okay, so maybe
that's where
we got to get clarification on that.
Yeah, no, I'll get clarification on it. So I'm not trying to make it a rock fight with you. I'm just saying that's how I'm interpreting it, because we don't have. This is probably the biggest problem, right? So if Allen Engineering had said it's going to cost you $300 to do all the top coat, and Leonard came in and says, I think it's $325, right? You'd have something to compare to and justify, but we only have Leonard saying it's $325. We don't have nothing.
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. So your engineering firm, Allen, right?
Didn't provide any document.
Didn't provide any initial information to complete the project for. That's what Mike's statement is.
Yep.
So our engineer on our behalf just did the takeoff and said, "Oh, this is what it's going to be."
He's acting as the engineer for the project.
Well, yeah. For some reason, he didn't take an initial submission.
No, in every town that we work in, that's how the protocol.
Douglas, Mass.
That is the protocol. That Leonard, Haley Ward's working on the town's behalf. They were asked to complete those quantities and to give a list of what needed to be completed.
At one of our
the values were our DOT pricing. They're not coming up with the pricing themselves.
Agree. They use the DOT wages to me
And Allen has agreed with the quantities that they came up with.
So that's the piece that you need.
So you said Allen agreed with the quantities.
Yeah.
Okay. You just reversed it.
Well,
no, wait a minute. Listen to me for a minute. Allen should have established the quantities, and then Leonard would have agreed to it. Leonard established them, and Allen agreed to it, right? Allen's not our peer review.
Allen has submitted stuff to Leonard in regards to the asphalt quantities.
Okay.
And then they came to a conclusion together.
Okay. It might be the situation that those two were talking, already submitted, and maybe we just got it as only Leonard submitted what they submitted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because usually what happens, that's why I was surprised, to Mike's point, is usually Allen, an engineering firm, on the behalf of the developer would do the initial submission.
Correct.
And then the town's engineer on their behalf would do, yeah, you're right, or no, you're off by a little bit, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's that exchange.
So I'm still going to get the answer on your bond thing. This has nothing to do with getting that answer. If the numbers are the numbers, right? What I'm looking at is moving forward. Who's the peer review for the town? That's what I want to know. Because that's how it's supposed to work. Somebody has to create a document that the peer review looks at and says, yes, you're right or you're wrong. Because if nobody's reviewing the reviewer, how do you know if he's right or wrong? That's the whole purpose of the reviewer.
Why are we talking about this now? That should have been settled a long time ago, right?
It was settled a long time ago, but it's changed. It's changed.
Well, why did it change?
I don't know. Nobody knows that question, so I'm writing that down. Who requested Haley Ward to establish the bond?
Or did they receive input from Allen and verified Allen's numbers?
I'm going to go by the way it was first said at the beginning of the conversation, and then we're going to get the answer from that. Pretty simple. Don't stress over it. It's just process. Anybody else got anything else for Neil? Can we release him for the night?
Yep. I do.
Go home and eat some Rolaids. Go ahead.
Motion to adjourn.
No? After we do minutes. I asked you to read the minutes ahead of time. If you read the minutes ahead of time, somebody can make a motion to approve them. It's only one page, so real simple.
I think
Want to make a motion to approve them?
I want to make a motion to approve the minutes for Wednesday, December 3rd of 2025.
Thank you.
Thanks. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, can we talk about ice cream before we adjourn? Because
No,
Ronnie's gonna
I'll make a motion.
Ronnie's taking us all out for ice cream.
At this time of night? What?
Go ahead, Ronnie, go ahead. You do
Motion
it.
to adjourn?
Yeah, there you go. Motion made by Ronnie Forget to adjourn, seconded by Jim Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.